channel, mammals. Anne and Chet, our dear friends, are coming back soon. So I thought I'd refresh the flowers in the kitchen. So come on in with me. We can put it together. But first, I just remembered I have on a different dress today, and I told you, didn't I, that I would tell you about different clothes that I have on. So, and this isn't fancy, but it has a little bit of a story that might be interesting. I just dropped my flowers. Aren't they pretty? Well, this little skirt came from a secondhand store, and it was a very large dirndl skirt. There was lots of room for a larger person to fit in. And so I love the fabric though. It's beautiful, just a beautiful linen. Something about it I just really liked. So I took it apart and I made it have, what do you call this? Like a, I don't know. There's a name for this. Anyway, this flat section at the top of it. And then I made pockets. And then I took some of the massive amounts of fabric and made two little layers on the back, and I fringed it, and then I stitched along the fringing so it wouldn't come undone anymore. Do you see? Can you see how it is? It has a little extra stitch, you see? Usually I comb this after I wash it so it doesn't look so shaggy, but today I didn't. I just left it how it is. And then, well, oh, I made this blouse too. This blouse, I had just a little tiny bit left of this beautiful fabric. Isn't it gorgeous? And it's called, oh, I forget what it's called. Ikat. It's from India, and it's where they dye the threads and then weave them together into patterns. But the pattern just comes from the different change in the dye colors. It's amazing how they do that. So the thread is pink and, you know, yellow and white and blue and red. And as it all dyes, weaves together, they have it figured out so that it will make this exact pattern. So I had just a little bit of that silk left over from, way long ago when we were first starting MacKenzie-Childs. And there weren't really any upholstery fabrics that were appropriate for the kinds of things that we were doing yet. People started making the kinds of upholstery fabrics that we could use. And then here's some more handcuffs. See? I really like wearing these handcuffs. You could just wear one as just a bracelet, but if you wanted to wear two, you can wear two. And it looks like the end of your sleeve, in a way. So I thought I would put them on to show you today. So this is, and I've worn this for years and years and years. I even wear it as a work skirt. You know, I don't always wear it with nice little handcuffs and a silk blouse. I just sometimes wear it with just a white blouse, and I just get to work. In fact, it even has a tear in it from extreme running. Like big, huge leaps, too big for the skirt. See this little, it's called tatting. Isn't it lovely? On the collar and the cuffs. It's all done by hand. It's very old, but people don't know what to do with it. So it just ends up being thrown in little boxes and drawers, and you just find it around, and then you can just use it on your blouse if you like. Okay, that was all for that. And now, let's look at this knob right here. Here's another beautiful little knob. It's sideways, but it's called bearded iris. And do you see, if you look very, very close, if you come very close, you can see the little yellow beards in the bearded iris. The little tiny beards. Isn't that precious? I wish I could twist it so I could twist it so you can see it up right there. Now you see it. Isn't that gorgeous? I just love, and all the little fish. This little fish has bubbles on him. I like the bubbles too. That's all part of the tradition of Majolica glaze. And then this one, I remembered the name of it. It's Alsace. And Alsace I remembered the name of it. It's Aalsmeer. And Aalsmeer is the name of the town in Holland where all the flowers are sold and sent all over the world. They have a Dutch auction, which I didn't even know it was a real thing. A Dutch auction is different than a regular auction. In a regular auction, the price keeps going up. In a Dutch auction, the price starts high and goes down. But it works because people who really want those fresh, beautiful parrot tulips that know that they have a florist on Madison Avenue that just has to have those, they'll still try to get the first bid. So things sell more quickly in a way because people, they want to be the first one to get it. So right near the highest price, they'll start bidding. And then when you get down to the lower prices, it's maybe the waste flowers or something. So that's a Dutch auction. And so this is Aalsmeer. And outside the auction house are all these airplanes. Instead of cars being parked, it's big jet airplanes, like its own little airport. And the people go off on those airstrips after they fill them with flowers and take them flying directly to whatever place in the world they need to go. And it's an amazing place. My sister and her husband and her children used to live there. And so that's why we ended up knowing about these auctions. So also, the Dutch auction, there's a clock that's ticking. It's not a real clock, but it's a hand of a clock and it's moving. And that clock, as it ticks down, it's ticking down to a lower price. And wherever somebody stopped, they have little stop things at their desk where they sit in this big amphitheater, and they hit it so that their number then, or the number of their little stop clicker gets recorded. So nothing's interrupted, there's no discussion, it just click, and that person, it's assigned that number, and those things go to that person's jet airplane. It's just fascinating. So the kitchen is really almost not at all like how it was before, but I can show you a few things. It's wonderful, isn't it? The way it's become so modernized and so practical, and it's just amazing. This is the only little part of the original kitchen. It was all tiled with our tile, and this is one of the parts that went on the ends of the August cooker that we had here, which is an English cooker, farmhouse kind of cooker. And so these were the ends of it, and the whole center section was also tile. Even the basin was a handmade basin that we made. So it's very different now. This is an original cupboard that we built in here, and I loved it because when I was a little girl, my grandmother always had what she called breadboards. And so what's nice is you can pull these out, they don't fall out, of course, and if you're getting dishes from the cupboards, you don't have to have a big ledge that takes up space, and then you can pull out, let's pull out some of our dishes. You can pull out dishes that you need, and just then gather them all up and take them wherever you're taking them afterwards. So another thing that she used it for was for making sandwiches. Just little simple breadboards that can be tucked in. And so those are still here. And these are, you know, many people know that if you want to come and see these knobs, look at how dainty they were. Look at the beautiful detail in the painting. Oh, it was just so much fun to do such beautiful little works. And let's see if there's anything else. Well, there are more and a few different designs here. Here's another one. That's Monet. This one was Alsace. No, not Alsace. Oh, what was the name of it? It was a town in Holland where my sister used to live. I'll think of it. I can't believe I can't remember the name of it. This was Cayuga. This is where we are now, Cayuga Lake. So Anne doesn't have too many different kinds here, but we can look in here and I can tell you some other things. This is the butler's pantry. It also is quite different than when we had it. We had a table in the middle and we used to work on that table and so forth. But this is kind of a fun thing. I think I told you that, maybe I didn't, that the original house was just a square, and you know, it was the dining room, what's now the dining room, which was the kitchen and the dining room, 2 rooms, and then there was the salon, and that was all that the width of it was, just those 2 spaces. But then we moved a house here, and we built this on ourselves, this little sunroom here. And so all of this was the outside of the house. This wall was the outside of this house. So when we built this part of the house onto it, we took the windows out of the house and made them as cupboard doors for our cupboards. So all these were windows and now they're cupboards. Practically right where they were originally. They were a little more spread out because, of course, this also was part of the house that we moved here. So they went out farther along. And this is an outside door right here. Isn't that fun how that is? And then these were old dry goods cupboards that came out of, I think, the shed here. And we moved them in, and we built, let's see if there's, we built all these little ways of storing silverware here. So I think that we had a couple of drawers like that. So basically everything has changed. Oh, this used to be in the kitchen, and you can see it. It also has, if you want to come close, you can see the little fish knobs here, and the beautiful care in the painting. Look at these tiny little flowers underneath them. You see, aren't they sweet? So, and then this we can show you. This is the part we actually built ourselves to connect, to make the house look more interesting, the way it works from one section to the next. So we built the floor has heat underneath it, and we used our tile to tile the floor. It's been roughly treated over the years, but it actually holds up very well, but there's been a lot of, I don't know, just different changes about. So, and here's one of our stools. This is a stool on wheels that we used to make. Not at MacKenzie-Childs, but when Richard and I started working on other things. But I love these stools because when you sit down, you can kind of pull them up close to you. You can readjust your feet however you like. And then when you get up, you can push it off. And you don't have to climb over it. Or you can say to your cat or your dog or your grandchild, oh, you can say, oh, would you like to sit next to me? Here you go. And then you can just set them right next to you. And then we made these little simple little things. Instead of curtains, we just used ribbon and balls of wood and of brass. They've been here for a long time. It's amazing they still look pretty good. And they were such a simple thing. I don't even think I ever thought of it as anything terribly permanent, but isn't it interesting how it works? Then we put lattice for the ceiling. And so it has a kind of fresh outdoor feeling. And then you see, just have this wonderful crescent shape for looking outside. Let's see. Oh, well, I can show you the bathroom here. Again, the idea is quite the same, but it has changed. This was the little vanity that we built here in with our rose design around with tile. And then the ceiling, although I love the way it is now, it was filled with flowers, dry flowers that just became dry as they hung there. And this was with a kind of rose-colored silk, a very soft silk, but it had to be redone. So I felt like Anne did a wonderful job of redoing this with this plaid check design. So I like it because it's kind of sporty, and it looks great with this wallpaper. The wallpaper doesn't bring out the best in this basin. It was a different kind of wallpaper that we had, but I think it's the most beautiful wallpaper I've ever seen. So it wins the prize. It gets to be present, even if it doesn't matter that it doesn't look exactly like, I don't know, there's just something really wonderful around this green, and then everything just is so interesting. I love how this is.